What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to your home for all things combat sports.
Yo.
So, Nick, I saw a picture surface not long ago, Alex Pereira weighing a good 220 pounds, coupled with a video of him just absolutely crushing the pads, sparring with Glover Teixeira. There's a very exciting main event at 85 coming up. I don't think I've been this excited for a middleweight fight in quite some time because Adesanya has just dominated the division, but now he's fighting a guy who has knocked him out before and is looking very sharp.
Yeah, this is awesome. And it's actually a change of pace for middleweights because there's somebody other than Izzy Adesanya sort of selling this fight. And I think this could be the most exciting fight that Izzy's had in his career to date, which is saying a lot because he's fought so many legends. He's fought so many top contenders. And for this guy to come in with just 5 fights in the UFC, or if I'm wrong, 5 fights in MMA total, and come into a main event slot, Madison Square Garden, main event against the number one or arguably number one pound for pound striker in the entire UFC is saying a lot. So there's a lot of differences with this fight than we've seen in the past with Izzy's fights, but I think all of those are making this become one of the most exciting ones of the year.
No doubt. Izzy has come in, cleared out the division, rinsed and repeated. I mean, the guys that are some of the best fighters in the world, Robert Whittaker disposed of him twice. I mean, he's literally lapping people right now at 85, but this is totally different. This is a guy that he's fought before twice, lost to twice, and was knocked unconscious in one of those fights. One thing about Adesanya, he comes into every fight with a superb confidence. He almost walks into the cage knowing that he's going to win the fight, and quite frankly, most times his opponents know it too. This is not that case. I'm going to be very interested to see if Izzy comes into fight week with that superb confidence, with that extreme belief in himself that no matter who's standing across from him, he's going to defeat them, because the reality is the guy standing across from him stylistically on paper is a nightmare for him, and on top of that, it's somebody that's gotten the best of him twice.
Yeah, this matchup is actually a perfect example of why MMA is my favorite sport. Izzy has, for the most part, gotten the best of the rounds in the fights that have taken place with Pereira. He's skill-wise just as good as him, and every time he goes out there, he's able to score usually more often than Pereira is, but there's always a shot in a fight that can change the entire tone of the fight, and Pereira has got his hand raised twice, and whether that was by knockout or by judges, or whether it was a right decision or a wrong decision, it doesn't matter. Pereira has gotten his hand raised, and that gives him all the confidence that Izzy's used to carrying into fights. So why I think this is a great test for Pereira, I think this is a bigger test for Izzy, because Pereira really doesn't have anything to lose. If he loses, yeah, I lost to a guy who's 21-1 or whatever he is in mixed martial arts, and I'm only 5-1 as a mixed martial artist.
Right.
But Izzy, if he loses to this guy, he's now 0-3. It's going to be hard to get another fight with Pereira, even if it is in a completely different set of rules in a totally different sport, which that sort of makes me feel like Izzy Adesanya is coming into this different than we've seen him in the past. You know, I keep up with all these guys on social media. I'm following all of them. And Izzy Adesanya is always in my news feed. He's doing something entertaining, whether it's selling a fight, just being funny, creating content in one way or the other. This one kind of feels like he's in the shadow. He's not quite as prevalent on my news feed as Pereira is. Every other day I'm seeing channels that, follow the sport post stuff about Pereira, and I'm not seeing a ton about Izzy, which could either be one of two things. He's hyper focused and not worried about, selling this fight, or he's a little bit intimidated.
I think he's hyper-focused. I think he's really concentrating on this. He does not want to go 0-3. I understand it's a different sport, but it's the same guy, and he's 0-3 if he loses this fight against Pereira. There was some brilliant matchmaking that allowed this to take place. I think the Sean Strickland fight for the number one contender spot was, quite frankly, not really fair. There's a lot of 85ers that rightfully have a complaint that somebody like Pereira, who's only had a handful of fights in total, not just in the UFC, is going to be in there fighting for a title. But look, it's exciting. It's what 185 needs right now. And I think Adesanya needs this, because the last couple of matchups that Izzy's been in, he's had the luxury of throwing a really crisp jab, popping some leg kicks, and having tremendous head movement and feints that have carried him through the fight and to getting his hand raised, and quite frankly, what have been some pretty boring decisions. He is not going to have that luxury with Pereira. Pereira is a come-forward fighter. He's a striker that likes to knock you out. Izzy's certainly the more technical striker, as you said. I certainly think Izzy's going to land more shots than Pereira's going to land, but Pereira's got the power, Pereira's got the pop, and he is not afraid to walk you down. So there will be no jabbing and leg kicking and circling around the cage in this one. Adesanya is going to have to fight if he wants to beat Pereira, because from the time that bell rings until the time the fight's over, whether that's 25 minutes or less, Alex Pereira is going to be in the face of Israel Adesanya, and he's going to be a bigger, more powerful, yes, less technical, but somebody who's comparable in his league as far as striking goes, and I'm just very excited to see what plays out.
Me too. There's no easy road to UFC gold, and you can ask anybody that. It's one of the most difficult things to achieve in all of sports. But Alex Pereira has had one of the easier routes that we've ever seen in the UFC. And with the finish line, the final stretch being right there, and it being against somebody that he's already beaten twice, that's never beaten him, that probably is a pretty promising feeling for him to get up every morning and go, you know what, this is the pinnacle. This is the highest up you can go in combat sports, and I'm one fight away from it, and I've already beat the guy twice. I know how to beat him, and I've only gotten better since we fought last time. Now, granted, Izzy's also gotten a lot better since they fought last time, but I think that he smells the victory right there at the final in the final stretch, and this could wind up being the making of a monster, the creation of the quickest turnaround, or maybe top 3 quickest turnarounds to champion we've ever seen in the UFC. Pereira is doing things that nobody's ever done in this sport, and I think the way he's moving forward with this, and now he's kind of showing us that, look, I'm not afraid of this big bad Izzy Adesanya that everybody else is sort of conceded a loss to before the fight even starts. And if Pereira is able to pull it off, then MSG is going to probably erupt, and you're going to feel the entire city of New York sort of rumble that night.
I think you're absolutely right. I can't wait for this fight. Madison Square Garden always has big fight feel, no matter who the main event is, and the fact that it's such a banger like this one is makes it all the better.
Absolutely.
Guys, drop us a comment. Let us know your early predictions. Who wins this one, the champ Adesanya, or is Pereira going to make it 3-0? We love chatting with you guys in the comments. If you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.